Good morning. I'm Taylor Stewart, and happy Labor Day to you. I'm Taylor Stewart.
Good morning. It is Monday, August 10th. I'm Taylor Stewart, and it looks like I'm riding solo today. This car was one of those cars that caught fire today. What happened is you've got one group who came out here and painted "Defund the Police." You've got another group who came out here with blue paint to paint over that mural. And it's very, very loud. As you can see, this line of supporters, of protesters rather, the line goes all the way down right here across from McKenzie Arena. Let me show you the other side, though. These are supporters that were standing in line. They left but came back. I'm going to hold on for dear life. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's go. We're not seeing it stick to the ground, but as you can see, we've started to see some accumulate here on our news car. We're told a Henderson County deputy was shot this morning. We continue to expect that you can represent women if you have now pleaded guilty to this cyber-stalking charge. This morning, we did see some graffiti out, but very different than the F-bombs we saw yesterday. Take a look over here at Farm Burger. The shooter who fired shots leaving bullets in this gas pump and this pylon is still free this hour. Today, we're still seeing signs of protest. This sign we just found in the street here.
There it is.
Okay, it
That's
made
perfect.
it. At least touched the wood.
And that's perfect.
Taylor, word on the street is before you left, you took a photo of me to put on the target.
No photos, but I do have some X's that I think that would look good on these targets. But we'll leave that for an anti-Valentine's Day conversation.
Looks like a good time.
Oh, it's going to be a great time. Tell my parents I've already run off with the circus.
4 and 5. Take a smile. You can.
Kaiser out. They are offering gloves as well and frequent wiping down of those machines. But there are areas like here in the black area where you are allowed to take down your mask to work out. The firefighters and Duke Power Crews worked so hard this morning to contain the flames and get out the fire, the embers that have continued to burn here. As you can see, that ladder truck still dispersing water. But let's give you an idea of just how destructive this was. This entire block was an apartment complex under construction. As you can see, this is the framework that's left behind. The fire investigators just got on scene. We were pushed back a little bit as they worked through this area and try to figure out what caused the flames that erupted overnight. Ellen Frost pleads guilty to a federal conspiracy charge. Frost appeared in federal court Monday morning. She's accused of conspiring with former county manager Wanda Green. An update to the breaking news we brought you this morning. A deadly deputy-involved shooting is under investigation in Henderson County. That deputy is now fighting for his life. News 13's Stephanie Stanisasi is live in the Mountain Home area where this all went down. Stephanie, you've gotten a good lay of the land. What's going on right now? We're learning about this meeting that happened in Silva. It came to an abrupt end after the meeting got Zoom bombed. The town board was holding a Zoom meeting to discuss a resolution regarding the possible removal of a Confederate monument in front of the historic county courthouse. As that meeting started, someone broke in with a string of racist comments. We're starting now with breaking news. A plane has crashed near the WNC Ag Center. Let's go live there now. As you can see, debris from that plane on the ground there. Now, we don't have a great deal of information, but we did overhear dispatchers indicate passengers were on board. Now, we have a crew on the scene right now. We'll bring you those updates as we get them. One of the best chefs in Asheville went head-to-head with celebrity chef Bobby Flay, and one, Reza Sayteyesh, appeared on the Food Network show Beat Bobby Flay. Reza owns Bimberry Bon, a gluten-free restaurant. Good morning, Jay.
Good morning to you. So who do you pull for? Tyson versus a shark?
You pull for Tyson that he makes it out alive, but you're jumping in there. So I have to say it's Shark's territory.
Yeah.
It's a hard one. Who do you pull for? There are growing calls across the nation to defund police forces. But what does that really mean? This is video shot from our Ingalls Skyview 13 drone overlooking the area located at that intersection of Hilliard and Clingman Avenue. The fire was reported around 1:30. You can see what a wide area the fire involved. Now, there's also damage surrounding properties and vehicles. News 13's Rosie Woods is at the scene of the fire. She joins us now. Rosie, a lot is still unknown at this time. Any new answers this hour? Now, did you know there are some women who don't really need any kind of pain medication to to help manage the pain of childbirth. Yeah, in fact, about 1 out of every 100 women has that type of gene. A breaking news update this morning on that deputy-involved chase that ended in a crash here in Asheville. Henderson County Sheriff's Office telling us the car you see here, 3 people were inside of it. They're saying a burglary happened in Mills River, and a Henderson County sheriff responded to that call. When they arrived on scene, the suspects hopped in that white vehicle and headed towards Asheville. 2020 just keeps coming with the blows.
It does.
And now we're learning this coronavirus pandemic is also hitting consumers pretty hard. Now, new data shows there's a spike in COVID-related scams and fraud.
Taylor Stewart joins us now. Taylor, how are homeowners reacting to this county response today?
Well, Tricia, the next voice you'll hear after mine is that of Bill Baker. He owns the home behind me. Let him tell you.
Frustrated, stressed, more so than we already are.
Bill has a sign on his house that says it's the most wonderful time of the year. But if you want the truth, the retired veteran will tell you.
It's been a bad 3 to 4 weeks.
His life hasn't stopped.
Right here was the topper of it all. I found out I have some medical issues.
Meanwhile, floodwater in his yard that state officials say contains E. coli is at a standstill, and solutions from the county exhausted. Today, Hamilton County Emergency Management Director Chris Adams laid every solution on the table, from trucking the water out to raising the ground level of neighbors' yards to...
We've looked at pumping it as far as a mile away.
He says every option the county's investigated won't work without creating problems for other residents nearby. What's left? Wait for the water to dry. We put a stake in the ground to measure how long it'll take for water to recede. We'll be waiting, like Bill and other residents on Hunter Road, many of whom say they don't have another option.
Well, at my age, I probably have no other choice.
In a 2-day series titled Drugs, Dollars, and Docs, News 13's Taylor Stewart explores the financial relationship between drug makers and doctors right here in the mountains. She joins us live in studio. Taylor, how did we get our hands on these financial records?
Well, a law called the Physician Payment Sunshine Act requires pharmaceutical companies to disclose any financial ties to licensed doctors. We learned drug makers frequently pay the very doctors that prescribe their drugs. And while the practice is common and legal, patients are largely left in the dark.
So that's per year?
Patient Jessie Robertson says she had no idea her doctor was among hundreds of Asheville providers accepting money from Big Pharma.
That is insane.
Neither did patient Candace Watterson.
I don't think that's information that's readily given.
Analysts at ProPublica compiled this data made public by the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. It's a list of every doctor in our area who accepted money from pharmaceutical companies in 2018. It details how many times a provider was paid, how much money they received, and which company wrote the check.
That first number is really, they're all really high, but my doctor's second on the list. That is a lot.
Drug makers paid each of these top 5 doctors more than $100,000. One Asheville endocrinologist accepted more than $185,000 in a single year. Hi, good morning. I'm calling to speak with Dr. Richard C. Dodd. We reached out to confirm records that show 277 payments from insulin makers for anything from public speaking to education. We did not immediately hear back. I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks. Ethics experts say these payments are common practice and perfectly legal.
So the American Medical Association has some guidelines that they suggest that providers follow in terms of limiting interactions with the pharmaceutical industry.
Dr. Courtney Wilson is the Associate Director of Pharmacotherapy at MAHEC. She says, according to the AMA, doctors can accept money, even gifts from drug makers, as long as compensation is related to patient care and isn't excessive. And who would determine what is excessive?
That's a great question. I think we all need to use our best judgment there.
In recent years, the Department of Justice filed numerous lawsuits against drug makers for what they call deceptive marketing aimed at both patients and doctors.
It's a very lucrative business. And I'm not saying they shouldn't have a profit, but that profit is often at the expense of people's lives.
For life-saving drugs say they'd like to see more transparency. Tomorrow we sit down with a doctor who defends receiving more than $150,000 from drug makers. You don't want to miss her side of the story.